But I guess this leads me to where I have to say I was wrong about Leroy. I was very wrong. And EVO Japan, I was wrong. Like, the sky isn't falling until like some random just wins EVO Japan with Leroy. That was my thought process, and I was wrong, because the amount of Evos, the amount of Leroys at EVO Japan, I almost said Evos at Leroy Japan, because Evo was Leroy. They're both synonymous now. The amount of Leroys there was ridiculous. Naroma's Leroy was awful to watch. Absolutely awful to watch. He clearly picked him up like 12 hours before the tournament started. He couldn't do any combos. Absolutely awful to watch. And he finished third. He finished third. Don't get me wrong. Naroma's an amazing player. One of the best players in Japan, quite easily. But that Leroy was awful. Absolutely awful. And he finished third. And then Masa and Zuko, they completely outperformed themselves. They completely outperformed themselves. I've heard of each of them maybe once before this tournament, and then they're making top 8. Tejan from India finishing 9th. They completely outperformed themselves, and you can only look at the character. You can only look at the character for that one. I was wrong with a lot of the things I said. I was wrong. But the highlight of EVO Japan, Mikio and Ulsan. Mikio and Ulsan was so entertaining to watch. So unbelievably entertaining to watch. Yeah, Mikio was an absolute monster. I had not heard of him before the tournament. Because I didn't watch top 24 to top 8. So I didn't see who made it into top 8. I just looked through the bracket. And when I saw this random name in winner side top 8, I just assumed, okay, it's just some random that used Leroy. But no, he was playing Julia. And he was going ham. He was amazing to watch. I loved it. I loved every single second of it. I am a Mikio fan now, and I am an even bigger Ulsan fan now, because Ulsan had like the Korea and every Leroy hater on his back, and he pulled out the Bob, and in the Kazumi he took down Chikadin. That was amazing. Like, Leroy's were just, he was the Leroy killer. And the fact that he lost to the worst Leroy in Naroma really aggravates me. But Ulsan did the thing. Mikio did the thing. And I feel bad for Book. If I'm being honest, I feel bad for Book. Because there will forever, I think Spag said this as well, there will forever be an asterisk next to Book's name on this win. Forever. I just hit the mic, sorry. There'll forever be an asterisk against his name. Because he used Leroy and because everyone used Leroy. But at the end of the day, he just wanted to win. And I'm glad that Book won, because Book is a player with this level of talent that could do this have this kind of performance anyway. And honestly, I am glad he played Leroy for the finals, because like he said afterwards, if I had gone back to Jin for Mikio in the grand finals, it would have been like disrespect to him. I went all this way of Leroy, and if I just swapped to Jin now, it would have felt like disrespect. And I respected that. I do respect that. I feel bad for Book, but that's the way the game is now. If you want to win, pick Leroy. And you know what, let's take a look at these abysmal patch notes. So they had all the stuff going on for all the other characters. That's fine. They're fixing issues there, whatever. They're doing all that by whatever. But if we look at these dumb Leroy changes, so his rage drive fixed an issue, whatever. 1-2-4, and his dick jab string down 1-2-4. Fixed issue, which is timing was faster than 1 frame, whatever. Hermit forward 4, change damage. Down forward 1, change damage. They changed down forward 3, increase the distance from the character's opponent when the move hits the opponent while they are down. Maybe that means he can't do the wall ender down forward 3-1 into down back 2 string. Maybe, but I doubt it. I don't think they're thinking that far ahead. Down 2-4, change damage. So maybe now, possibly you can't get the ender won't do as much damage now. You can still get the spike, but the ender's not going to do as much damage. Ooh, great. They killed 4-4-3 full combo. Oh, well, that's like, it's like, yeah, that's cool, but it's still like, fuck it. Like, it's still shit. It's still very shit. Down back 1-3. Change damage from 20 to 7. Down 1 plus 2 is now minus 10. It's minus 10 with less pushback. Minus 10. Back 3 does less damage. Up forward 4, his orbital is now minus 8. I'm sorry, his orbital change is the only good change. His orbital change is the only good change. Literally the only good change. It's the only good change. It's the only good change. Yeah, his down 2-4 change is good, making it minus 13 now and not neutral on hit. But that's the only good change. It's still one of the fastest orbitals. Yeah, it's still going to be really good on whiff. But whatever. Up forward 3 plus 4, 1 plus 2. Change opponent's hit bave when hit midair. That might not mean it works as a combo ender anymore. That might be what that means. But I don't know. And forward 2-2. To me, the most obnoxious change. The most obnoxious change. Because by changing something about forward 4-2-2, it lets you know that they know there's a problem. It lets you know that they know there is a problem. And they just change its damage. It just does less damage now. It's still minus 13 with great pushback. The second hit is still going to track you all the way around to your back. But don't worry, it does 5 points less damage. Leroy's still probably going to get an 80 damage, at least a 70 damage combo, at least 70 damage combo off of it. He will get that at least. But maybe, you know, he's not going to, you know, maybe not get that 80 damage combo anymore. And then they changed his cane. Decrease distance between the character event when the first hit is blocked. Works in Geese's mid throw or whatever. Second hit, fix issue with a third hit, could be blocked from countering, whatever. And now it's plus 8 from minus 7 on block. I mean, that just means they'll change the way. I mean, the thing is about that, yeah. What does minus 7 on block mean to Leroy? What does minus 7 on block mean to Leroy? What does that mean to Leroy? What does that mean to Leroy? What does that mean to Leroy minus 7? Like, that doesn't mean anything to Leroy. And if it hits, you're still screwed. The risk reward for that is still so skewed in Leroy's favor. It is so skewed in Leroy's favor. It's unbelievable. Now, let's talk about what they didn't touch. They didn't touch 1-1-1 plus 2. They didn't touch back 1 plus 2. They didn't touch down 1 plus 2. They didn't touch his hell sweep. They didn't touch Hermit back 4. They didn't touch his parry or the Sabaki parry or down back 1 plus 2. They didn't touch forward 3. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm so convinced since Harada got promoted, the dev team have no idea what they're doing anymore. I have no idea what they're doing. And you know what? I'm making a prediction right now. I am making a prediction right now. And that is Fakumram, when he comes, he is going to be a Leroy killer. He's going to be a Leroy killer. So everyone's going to flock to him when he comes out. He is going to be able to deal with Leroy fantastically. So then everyone's just going to play him instead. And that's what's going to happen. Like, there's no way they didn't know this character would be this broken on release. There's no way they didn't know that. There's no way they didn't know that. So you're just gonna buy this. You're gonna buy the season pass. You want to deal with Leroy? Buy Fakumram. You want to deal with Fakumram? Good luck. Wait till season 4 when we release a character that can deal with him. That's all I see at this point. That is all I see. And exactly at minus 7, Leroy can still parry. Leroy can still parry. Leroy can still parry. If you want to do, he can still go into Hermit stance if you feel like doing a low. It's still a mix up for you. It's still a mix up for you. And this is the nail in the coffin, isn't it? This is the nail in the coffin right here, isn't it? These patch notes were dated back to Christmas. Dated back to Christmas. They knew they were going to have to nerf Leroy. They knew they were going to have to nerf Leroy. They knew they were going to have to nerf Leroy. They knew he was going to come out broken like this. They knew it. They probably planned for it. They probably planned for it. You know the thing that pisses me off the most? You know the thing that pisses me off the most? So what I believe is the dev team made Leroy the way they did to move DLC copies. I didn't believe it before. I really didn't believe it before. I thought that was just that was just tinfoil hat theory. No, they made him so overpowered, so you would definitely buy him. But I believe that's what they did now. I believe that's what they did now, because they knew they'd have to nerf him. They knew he'd have to be nerfed. But the thing that really pisses me off is with how cool Leroy was, his design and everything, people were going to pick him up and play him regardless. People were going to pick him up and play him regardless. I know I was. I knew so many other people were going to do it as well. He was going to be played regardless. We liked the character regardless, no matter how strong he was. And now by doing this, they're essentially ruining their game. Because with these small changes, up until Tekken World Tour, they have what? When does it start? April? April is Tekken Tokyo Masters. They have until April to try and normalize this character. If not, people are going to be dropping off. I know Gosane said he's not too happy about competing right now. He's probably not the only one. Denmark ended up being a Leroy mirror match because the only way for Fergus to challenge Blackbeard's Leroy was with Leroy, and I don't blame Fergus for picking Leroy. But top 8 of EVO was awful. It was, don't get me wrong, it was exciting to watch, but it's awful, all of those Leroys. And so many people outperforming in ways you've never seen them before. Naroma clearly picked up Leroy the night before. Masa and Zugel and Tajan completely outperformed themselves. No, actually no, disrespect to those players. Because they're not doing this without Leroy. They wouldn't. They seriously would not. They seriously would not. Like, at this, like, and I'm sorry, these players now, if Leroy does seriously get nerfed and goes bad, they better stick with Leroy. They better stick with Leroy. I didn't like how Naroma switched to Steve in Losers Final, trying to regain his honor. Like, oh my gosh, I'm losing with Leroy. I'm gonna go back to Steve. I'm gonna go back to Steve. Like, I don't rate that at all. And Book is someone who could have won EVO without Leroy. He is someone who he has that skill. He won, was it SC? Oh, he won, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a national event. A while ago. This was after the Tekken World Tour Finals, the Olympics thing. Yeah, he won that. SCA Olympics, that was it. He won that. Do I think tournaments should ban Leroy? I've decided my role this season, because I feel that every person and player needs to decide a role for themselves. My role this season is to just be a Leroy killer. That's my role this season. If there's a Leroy in my bracket or a Leroy in tournament, whatever, I'm just going to kill that Leroy. I don't care what happens for me the rest of that event. I'm just going to kill the Leroy because I'm tired of this character already. And I'm going to do it as Hwarang. I'm going to do it as Hwarang. I'm saying that now. That is my goal this season. I'm just going to kill Leroy's left, right, and center, and I'm going to do it using Hwarang. I do not care. I do not care. Like, I don't even know for the state of the game at this point. It's awful. Naroma played a trash Leroy and switched because he didn't feel confident. Like, Naroma, I can't lie. It was disgusting to watch these players do that. Blocked by Murray yet, and Michael Murray just blocking people. I'm sorry, the dev team don't know what they're doing in this. It's obvious. Went from missing his dad to never wanting to see him again. I'm emancipated. I've legally emancipated myself. Leroy is not my dad anymore. Leroy is not my dad anymore. I've legally emancipated myself. Yeah, I'm doing the Lord's work. I'm taking out every single Leroy now, and I'm gonna do it using Hwarang.